Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. The Natural World of Winnie-the-Pooh, a walk through the forest that inspired the 100 Acre Wood. It is printed by Timber Press and distributed by Thomas Allen. Now, this book is for anyone who has ever read the stories of Winnie-the-Pooh, who have read the stories of Winnie-the-Pooh, or just love the characters. Because what this does is goes into very deep research into the whole woods that inspired it. It also goes into the life and times of A.A. Milne and E.H. Shepard, who is, of course, the illustrator. And it is a great book because it does do and will, I'm sure, any Pooh fan will actually find some interesting things in here. When A.A. Milne was a young man, his father would always introduce him to a variety of English landscapes by going on walking tours, and they would always have some relationship, either direct or indirect, with the natural world. And as a result, he would get into the actual plants, the animals, the insects, and the bugs, even as a young boy. His favorite hymn is All Things Bright and Beautiful, and they would often sing this as they walked through the woods. That is the type of depth of information that you're going to get in this particular book. And I started going through this one, and I'm going, this really does sort of bring out the character of the people behind the book. But also it tells you where these characters actually developed from. And on page 63 of this book, there is a little request from A.A. Milne, which I thought sort of said an awful lot about the man. It says, "When I am gone, let Shepard, the illustrator, decorate my tomb and put, if there is any room, 2 pictures on the stone, Piglet from page 111 and Pooh and Piglet walking on page 157, and Peter thinking that they are my own will welcome me to heaven." That's the type of writing and in-depth research you're going to get in this book. And I really did like it. There is also a copy of the original handwritten manuscript by A.A. Milne as an introduction to Winnie-the-Pooh. It's all in here. There is also photographs of the time, and I was very surprised to see a photograph of Christopher Robin, Piglet, Roo, all inside the cavity of the big walnut tree. Of course, Pooh's home. It's in the book as well. So I kept working my way and reading through this book, and I came across something I hadn't realized, that there was a lot of people throughout the world who are fans of course, Winnie-the-Pooh. But JFK actually made a special trip to the 100 Acre Wood in order to actually visit this because it meant so much to him when he was a boy. When Milne was very young, he went to school, he was tutored, and his first scientific lesson or instructor was also his botany teacher. And his botany teacher would go and write to relatives in the woods, and they would send him different examples of the actual plants that were growing in, of course, Ashdown Forest, which is the name of the forest that is the 100 Acre Wood. The Ashdown Forest, by the way, is 6,000 acres outside of London. So in this there are people who come and visit. But that teacher was just a few years away from becoming extremely well known throughout the world. His first botany and science teacher was H.G. Wells. Well, I'd like to have that guy as a teacher when I was in school. There is some controversy about how Ashdown Wood got its name, since there are no ashes growing on this, and there doesn't seem to have been any record of ashes growing on this whole wooded area, 6,000 acres. And what it really means is that the conditions were not right. And so where did the name come from? Well, because of so many different types of people who actually occupied this land, in different languages, it sort of evolved the word ash from the people who lived there, and I'll spell it for you, Aesca, and of course, dun, D-U-N, is for hill, so it became known as Ashdown, and of course, the forest. That's the type of research that has also gone into this. The book includes different aspects of the Ashdown forest, such as the animals, the insects, the butterflies, the plants, the trees, the shrubs, but it also does the landscapes as well. It shows the houses, the old photographs, and the pictures of it. When Charles Darwin wrote and published The Origin of the Species in 1860, he retreated actually to this forest and the lodgings there because his wife was related, and they stayed at the Coleman Hatch home, and that's where he got interested and sort of got away from the world. But what he got interested in was the sundew plants that actually grow in this woods naturally. And he was exploring them and seeing how they worked, etc., and had his son do the botanical drawings in this sundew plant that he was doing and growing and experimenting with. It gave him something else to do, and it made his wife very happy because it gave him a release from the tensions of the book that he had published. And as a result, this is where, you sort of retreat to, and people still can go and retreat to this and go into the forest, see these different aspects and where the 100 Acre Wood came from. And every once in a while in the 100 Acre Wood, or Ashdown Forest, you will come across, as you're walking through, Eeyore's house. Believe it or not, somehow or other, it just keeps showing up, sometimes not even in the same place. The book itself is well worth the read. The photographs are fantastic. The story, the writing, the in-depth research of it is just excellent. And I think it gives you a much better idea of the background of A.A. Milne, E.H. Shepard, and Winnie-the-Pooh. And if you have read them, then you need to read this book. It is that good. The Natural World of Winnie-the-Pooh, A Walk Through the Forest That Inspired the 100 Acre Wood by Catherine Altell, published by Timber Press, and distributing Canada by Thomas Allen. Definitely 5-star good read. I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.